So there are two conflicting narratives as to the origin of the pea coat. I'm going to share them both with you and let me know in the comments which one you feel is more plausible. The first is that the pea coat comes from the Dutch word peej, referring to the type of material used to make these jackets, which was a blue wool on the outside being a very tough twill weave, and on the inside being a napped wool with a much softer surface. Now the word jacket referred to a shorter coat, one that is a jacket above the knee. The pea jacket was eventually adopted by the British Royal Navy in the 1800s, and it eventually became known as the pea coat by the end of the 19th century. Now another theory, as told by the United States Navy and favored by me as a US Marine, is that sea jackets from the 1600s were made from a material called pilot cloth. It was a heavy, coarse, stout, twilled blue cloth with a nap surface on the inside, very similar to the Dutch one, right? Now apparently this material was sometimes called pea cloth, and the jackets made for them were called pea jackets. This would later be shortened to the pea coat. And adding a bit of credibility to the US Navy's version, the term has been used. It was documented as far back as 1723. In any case, I think we can all agree that for over 300 years, the pea coat has been helping men stay warm and dry in freezing cold weather and look stylish at the same time. And remarkably, over the last few hundred years, the pea coat really hasn't changed too much, which is a great thing, and I promise I'll explain why in a few minutes. But first, let's define exactly what a pea coat is. So what makes a coat a pea coat? Well, the first and probably most distinguishing feature is going to be that a pea coat needs to be double-breasted. A double-breasted jacket is going to be a jacket that's characterized by two vertical rows of buttons. Depending on the size, the length, and the style of the jacket, you're going to see anywhere from 4 to 8 buttons. Now, historically speaking, the reason that you would use the excess material on a double-breasted jacket is the overlapping flaps would do a better job of keeping the cold out and keeping the heat in. The next distinguished feature of a pea coat is going to be the broad lapels. And these broad lapels aren't just for show, they're actually made to fold up and to better enclose and protect the wearer's neck. In fact, if you think about it, these things are a little bit of a time capsule, a vestige of the past. There really isn't a lapel style out there on any other garment that is quite like the pea coats. Now, the next style detail of the pea coat is going to be its length. It hits right at the hip, well above the knee. Now, of course, this depends on the cut of the jacket and the height of the man wearing it. But in most modern jackets, we're going to see an elastic either right around the waist or maybe a more formal, longer overcoat. We're going to see it going well past the knee. And yeah, if you look around, there are some other jackets that hit at about this length, but the pea coat's length, especially in a sea of shorter coats and longer coats, yeah, I still think it's really distinctive. And speaking of lengths and cuts, let's quickly talk about the bridge coat and the reefer jacket. Now, the reefer jacket was a specific type of pea coat that was issued either to an officer or a petty officer on a ship. It had the same design as a regular pea coat, except it had room for epaulets here on the shoulders, and it had gold buttons. Now, a bridge coat was a reefer jacket, but actually extended. It went down to the thighs. These longer jackets gave greater protection, and they were designed for officers who weren't going to be up in the rigging and didn't need to, have the full mobility that a pea coat offered. And that takes me to the next distinctive property of a pea coat is you are going to have, in general, high armholes. These jackets are made for fit men. I say that not to dissuade anyone out there that is a little bit maybe bigger and wants to wear a pea coat. You probably still can. But in general, these jackets were designed for a young military man that was going to be mobile and able, and therefore they cut the jackets in a way that they would fit less body types, but the ones that they did fit, they would make look really good. And that's probably why so many men who wear pea coats look good in them, because in general, to be able to pull off this look, you do have to have a good build. So it's kind of that whole self-selection circle thing going there. Now, the material historically on a pea coat was going to be wool, and they chose wool for a reason. If you don't know the properties of wool, wool has this really interesting ability to be able to absorb almost its weight in water and still feel dry. Untreated wool as well has a thin layer of wax that actually does a good job of repelling water, so you weren't even getting much in it to begin with. And as many of you guys know, because you have wool sweaters, wool has great insulating properties. So it is going to keep the heat in and keep the cool out. Now, when it comes to color, modern day pea jackets, you're going to see a variety of colors out there from camel to black, but historically speaking, we were going to see these in a navy blue. The Navy, US Navy, I know, did issue black pea coats as well. But if you want to go for something classic and I think incredibly versatile, yeah, you want to go for one of the darker colors. Navy is just, I think, the best one to start with. And I alluded to it earlier, but let's talk about buttons. You're going to see silver, you're going to see gold. I've seen white naval buttons out there. Nowadays on most pea coats, we're actually going to see plastic buttons. Nothing wrong with that. I personally like them because they're durable and they're muted. They don't really grab a lot of attention. The gold ones are just a little bit too much for me. And last but not least, the vertical hand pocket. You know, the Navy was pretty smart. In the Marine Corps, they always said, you know, never put your hands in your pockets. The Navy, they got a little bit of sense. They were like, you know, if your hands are cold, put them right there in the pockets. And so every pea coat has that slanted spot for keeping your hands warm. Now, I mentioned earlier, it's a great thing that the pea coat has been around for over 300 years. Why is that a good thing? A lot of guys, oh, it's an old, outdated style. No, I promise you, any modern man that pulls off a pea coat is going to get compliments. This jacket, when you wear it, it builds up the shoulders, it slims up the silhouette, it makes your chest and arms look bigger. This is a great jacket for getting compliments. The great thing with this being a classic piece, having been around a few hundred years, is the Lindy effect. Basically, the longer that something has been around, the more likely it's going to continue to be around. We see this in business all the time. A business that's only been around a year, well, you know, is it going to be around in a year? We don't know. But a business that's been around 50 years, well, it's more likely to be around another 50 years. The idea here is if something has stood the test of time, if it has continued to be around and be able to deal with everything that life and the world throws at it, well, it's probably not going anywhere. And this is a great thing for you. You see, because the pea coat isn't going anywhere, you could actually go out there and find one that you like, that fits you well, that may cost a little bit more, that may be a little bit expensive. But here's the thing. You buy quality in a classic piece like this, you're going to be able to wear this jacket next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, in 30 years. Your kid is going to steal this jacket because he's like, damn, this looks good. Dad, I'm taking this. But seriously, gents, that's why I love classic menswear. When you find pieces that just work with your build, with your silhouette, that make you look good, that get you compliments every time you wear them, you shouldn't be afraid to save up or to spend a little bit more to get what you want and to be able to dress in a way you project the image, you project the style that you feel represents who you are and what you stand for. Now, what to wear with a pea coat? It really depends on the style. The one I have right here, actually, you can barely see it. If you get up close, you can see the pattern. So this one right here is a relatively lightweight, almost like an overcoat. I could wear this with a casual suit, with a blazer and chinos, with a sports jacket and a pair of jeans. Now, if I had a heavier, maybe a vintage navy pea coat, that one right there, I probably wouldn't wear with the suit, but you definitely could wear it with a sports jacket and jeans, a quarter zip with a collared shirt and jeans or chinos, and easily pull off with a Henley dark denim, and yeah, that classic pea coat. Well, I think overall, a great look. All right, gents, what to watch next? Boom, I got you covered right here. Yeah, check out this video. You want to look great? I got you covered with, another solid video right here at Real Men Real Style. Enjoy, guys. I will see you in the next video. Take care.